All right.
Good morning. Good
Good
afternoon.
good Sunday. I think it's afternoon. So we've spent the full week working on WNC Strong, working on uh, organization, getting stuff put into play, get into place, getting the right people in place. Getting further along with that, have the retail um, up and getting managed. We have a website company that we're getting ready. Hopefully, to sign. If you have any contractors, any um, marketing people, we're looking for that. And if you just want to volunteer for admin stuff, we talked about this 2 nights ago, and it is a real need. We need that to be able to get the process set up, working with First Citizens Bank on getting a process lined up for grants and loans. And we're actually working with universities for a process to get government funding to rebuild some. We will this week start posting the plan. We so you can see where you fit in, how you fit in, if you want to fit in, if you know someone that fits in, someone at all. So me and Austin were up yesterday. Took a lot of videos, took a lot of pictures, talked to a lot of people,
Yeah.
and it is. I'll let Austin tell you what he saw.
Yeah, I was looking through a camera lens all day, which, if you've ever done it, just brings you into it. I really think that you can see different when you're filming and everything, and it's kind of like in slow motion. It's replaying in your eye. So after I went to sleep last night, I just kept visualizing like the images that I saw yesterday because we went to where did we go first? Swannanoa and Black Mountain area, and we kind of followed along the river and just saw, I mean, just horrible destruction, like piles and piles of debris that tower over houses, massive trees just over that had just been like, imagine this. Imagine you take a piece of paper, crunch it up, dip it in water, you can throw it across the room. That's what it looked like with these massive trees that, like, as big as a car around, just these massive trees. It looks like someone just crinkled them all up, dipped them in some water, and threw them down the stream. So, anyways, we are driving through that, flying the drone and everything, and it's just really hard to see see the lives completely turned upside down in these massive piles of stuff. You don't know what's in there. You don't know if there's people still in there. I mean, they've done the dogs, but there's like so much mud that was
The mud's
displaced. I mean, just heartbreaking to see. I don't think any of some of the places that we saw, I don't think any of that is ever coming back to normal. I think they're just going to leave it and, like, well, it is what it is. It's covered in mud. There's trees on top of it. It's not like they can rebuild it in some spots. But for the most part, the general consensus of the spirit, if you will, of the people that we saw, they were taking it into their own hands and rebuilding their house, rebuilding their neighbor's house, rebuilding the local businesses. I mean, physically rebuilding some of this stuff that seems near impossible. It's really crazy.
I think the craziest thing is whenever we went up 23, like you're going to Bristol. So we went over, turned towards Burnsville off 26, went up 23, the all way to Bristol. If you ever went to Bristol from the mountains back in the day before 26, and up that valley, it's like nothing ever happened. None of the creeks. I mean, there was no wash. The trees were perfect. The creek was perfect. We're actually looking for property to do temporary housing on and then turn it into permanent housing. And that's why we ended up that valley just looking for property. And it was, you go one valley over and the whole thing's washed away.
Yeah.
And you go in that one and it doesn't look like anything, like a storm even happened there. So
you're totally right. Like, it was a stark contrast from a beautiful, immaculate farm that had just been mowed. It was just perfect fall foliage and everything, but not one leaf on this green rolling hill pasture. And then just down the street, absolute mayhem, like houses upside down with cars and semis on top of them and tree. It was crazy. It's such a stark contrast.
And it was just a couple 100 yards apart. So that's how the storm actually went. And then we made it over to, we stopped at Mars Hill, saw my nephew, play some baseball for 5
That was
minutes,
great.
and made it back into Marshall. And we were there 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and they've gutted some more of the buildings, but
I think we were hoping for more progress in
Yeah.
Marshall. We were hoping that it had been repaired and gone further, but there was a point where Ben pulled me aside. He's like, "Man, look at this!" And the railroad where they had repaired the railroad. It was just still warped and like
it was out of the river,
so
but
bad.
it was still.
It had looked like they had repaired it, and then ground underneath it had sunken down. So it was just all like that would derail a train if they tried to go on that.
There was.
Okay.
I don't know when Marshall will actually, if Marshall will be back up. That's going to be. Towns like Marshall's want to know is what WNC Strong is going to focus on trying to bring back.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but with what we have planned, it is possible. It's going to take everyone buying in, everyone working together, all the different groups working together. But, a lot of these towns, Marshall, Burnsville, it's like anything. They're worried that somebody's going to come in and take stuff.
Yeah.
And the government's going to take stuff, or corporations are going to come in and take stuff. And I understand that worry. And that's why we're trying to do it as we the people. And
yeah. Well, listen, there's bad actors. We were talking to a friend of ours who was out there. He was saying that he was just with some of his friends out in Burnsville. And this guy, what did he call him? Sean with an O.
Sean with an O.
He came over and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a contractor. I raised all this money." Apparently this guy raised 20, 30 grand on, what did he raise it on, like GoFundMe or something? Just a solo guy. He raised all this money. He went up there and he helped people like lay, a 4 or 5 foot section of LVP, linoleum vinyl planking. It's like flooring. He helped him with some flooring, helped him with some stuff around the house. And then he left and he kept the rest of that money. And he got a couple pictures of him working, and he took that money. And the way that this guy knew, the people who were getting repairs on their house, they looked this guy up. They could see how much money he had raised in his GoFundMe. And they kind of were seeing the actual work he was doing. And let's say he raised, 30 grand, and he might've spent $300 on lumber and supplies, and then done a bad job that this guy, our friend, had to go back and replace. He had to go fix it. And there are a lot of snakes in the grass right now, a lot of bad actors who are doing that sort of thing. The whole idea between WNC Strong, the reason that we're trying to raise money is because we are trying to actually keep it in Western North Carolina, have the neighbors helping neighbors. So if you live, I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and I have put so much of my time, money, and energy and resources to help the people in Western North Carolina because we're Carolinians. That's what you do as Carolinian. It's a big family. So you get all these people from Virginia, just other places. Some are really good volunteers, but there are some bad actors and snakes in the grass. And WNC Strong exists to basically weed out all those bad actors.
And it's going to be a process. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
My sister said you spelled something wrong on here. So
whoops. Where's Trey when you need him? Sorry, that was just to get your attention. So, if you are watching this, please drop us a comment. It really does help us. If you see a grammatical error, just call it out. That way it'll help with the algorithm. And if you ask questions, Ben will answer them.
Right.
I'm on the hot seat.
We'll try to answer them. So this week we've got a whole board over here with jobs and stuff that we're starting to knock off. The biggest thing that we're going to do this week is create the application process. We'll have a web version of it, so you can go online if you need help or if you know somebody that needs help. We'll have a hard copy version that we're going to take around to distribution centers, churches, the fire departments. Those will be submitted for the grants, and they'll be submitted for any loans that are possible. Then we have contractors to come and actually bid out and see what actually has to be done to the houses as we see them, to see what the actual price is going to be, how much the materials are going to be, how much the labor with volunteer work is going to be. Then we will do an interview with the homeowners
Mm-hmm.
to get their story. The big thing here is we have to tell the story. We have to get it on GoFundMe's, sites like GoFundMe, to raise the money that is going to be the difference. And when we do this, any money that's raised for one project, if there's money left over, it's going to go to the next project. So we're trying to make it to where each project can keep funding the next one. And hopefully through the university system, we're going to be able to get funding from the government. I have a Zoom tonight at 6:30 with a guy who works at one of the universities. It's over one of the building departments, and we're going to come up with a proposal to send to our senators, and then they're back in session on the 19th.
Oh,
So hopefully, at least they'll look at it, take it into consideration. I know they have a hard time handing down funds directly to contractors or directly to workers, but if it's ran through the university system, we should be able to get the government funding, or they should at least consider it government funding.
absolutely.
And then it's going to be a grind. There's nothing else. There's nothing fun to say about it. But when we're over, whenever we are done, whenever we get the wheels finally spinning in motion, it should go fairly smoothly. That's been the hardest part right now. I tell people this, and I don't know how much they believe me, but this is literally like trying to build a Ferris wheel that's turning, and I've never built a Ferris wheel before, and we have all the wrong parts, and it's wobbly.
But we're doing it regardless.
We're doing it. It's, if you know me, you know that I like to go really fast.
We'll build it to code. Don't worry.
And most people are like, I can't believe how much you've done in such a short period of time and what you built.
Yeah.
And what we're working on. Because we're basically building a Fortune 500 company that's owned by Western North Carolina to rebuild Western North Carolina, and the funds that are raised and made, the revenue generated, goes to Western North Carolina to the rebuild.
Yeah, we have made tremendous value. It is a big task ahead of us, and it's overwhelming. But you know what they say, to eat a whale, you got to take a bite, and then you take another bite.
Well, if you have a lot of people taking small bites, it goes a lot easier.
Absolutely. Which that brings us to our next subject, which is you, the listener, the viewer. How can someone, like we've got someone here in the UK, I've got family in London right now that they've been to North Carolina, Western North Carolina in particular, this time of year. That's the most beautiful place, and it's devastated. They know these areas, Black Mountain, Swannanoa. You guys have been to Asheville. You've been to Mars Hill. You've been to all of these little towns that make Western North Carolina what it is, that were just devastated. And it's heartbreaking. So what can you do if you're watching us on a screen? There's a couple of ways. I would say one of the coolest fundraisers right now that we're doing is we have these things called mokes. They're like a Jeep and a golf cart combined. It's the most awesome little vehicle. They go, 30 miles an hour, and they have an 80-mile range. These things cost a lot. How much would you say it would?
If I'm
going to go buy a brand new moke.
Well, the retail on them right now ranges from 28 to 36.
Okay, so let's just say $30,000. So I'm going to buy a $30,000 little vehicle. This thing is so cool. It's silent, but it goes quick. What we're doing is we're raffling one of these off. I don't know how much longer we have, a week. Maybe we'll do like 11 more days or something, but it's coming to an end. And you can buy a raffle ticket for $100. You can find it all over. If after this, go find our Facebook or something. I'll drop a link here in a second in the comments, but you can raffle one of these. You can buy a ticket for $100. That gets you an entry. And basically, I mean, you might win one of these mokes. We have them in blue, pink, white, black, and camo. And you could probably
orange.
And orange, it's so cool. If someone won this,
Carolina blue,
and they won Carolina blue, could they pick that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, everything but the James Bond one.
Okay, yeah, that one's awful.
That's the special. But any other colors that they can pick whatever color they want.
I will, give me a second. I'll drop the link to that in the comments. Thank you to all of you who have entered. I'm so excited for whoever wins. I wish that I could enter. I'd probably buy like 5 or 6 entries. But what's another, Ben, while I'm finding this link, what's another way that someone could help from afar? I mean, the sweaters, there's a lot.
Yeah, you got, and here's the other thing that we're doing. We are creating Wnc Strong Mercantile, and it will feature the merchandise that we have to sell, but it'll also start featuring products from around Western North Carolina. So actively starting this week, we're going around and finding survivors who make a product. And the whole deal is we're looking for ways to get cash into survivors' hands. So if they make a product, jewelry, soaps, lotions, furniture, whatever, we're going to start buying those. We're going to buy them and then resell them on Fox or WNC Strong Mercantile.
Candles.
So candles, whatever.
Anything that's Western North Carolina made.
Just so we can get money back into it. And then y'all be able to rebuy them on the Mercantile site. And we're looking for retailers outside of Western North Carolina that will put these products in their stores. Mm-hmm. Also, we're going to have contests for, I say contests, we're going to pay for this, for artists, musicians. You know, there's all kinds of different arts in Western North Carolina. So as we're going to have it where they can get paid to go ahead and create art, specifically art featuring the storm and the rebuild of the storm. So if you know an artist, have them get in contact with us. We're going to pay for that. And we'll be able to auction those off and help pay for the rebuild. So we're trying to come up gift cards. If you have a business that got hurt by the storm and they have gift cards, we're going to buy gift cards and resell them on WNC Strong Mercantile. So all this stuff is ways that we can get cash back into the economy. And once we resell what we get, we're going to dedicate X amount of dollars to each of those. Once we're able to resell those, we'll buy more. And hopefully that helps keep the economy rolling in Western North Carolina while we can rebuild. So on top of that, we have the accredited investor fund that will get launched this week. I hope this is like building a Ferris wheel that's moving and wobbly. So we're doing an accredited investor fund that you can invest in. That's, of course, you have to be accredited. But we're also doing the crowd fund. So that's an investment. That's not a donation. You're actually investing back in Western North Carolina.
Yes, you will get money back.
Yep. You actually get, so that's whenever we partner with businesses, we do land developments. Some of that money comes back. The majority of that money goes to rebuild Western North Carolina, but it also goes to pay the investors back. Mm-hmm. But you can be one of those investors through the crowd fund, or you can invest in the crowd fund for a survivor or a volunteer. So, you know, you go on and buy $1,000 worth of crowd fund for yourself and donate $1,000. And then we will go into the community and hand out the basically stock certificates to the survivors. And, you know, that's bringing hope. They now own part of the rebuild. And you own part of the rebuild.
The reason that idea was birthed was because we went to some people and we were like, hey, in order to truly keep this in Western North Carolina, what do we have to do to make sure it's done right? And the result of that was, hey, you need a fund where accredited investors can go in and actually invest. And that's for like infrastructure. If you're going to do temporary housing, paired with a nonprofit that can actually, there's charitable activities that go on here, but by nature, some of this stuff is going to have to be built to support local businesses, support the economy.
The real part about the fund and that differs from the nonprofit, we're in this for 10 years. And people are going to get tired of donating for 10 years. People are already, and it's not they get tired of donating. They run out of money to donate. And whenever you have to donate over and over and over and over again, it's hard.
Well, look at this. I mean, right now we only have a handful of viewers, but when we first started posting this, there were hundreds of people tuning in on the live. Things are starting to cool down because the normal person like you and I, we forget that all this is happening. And this is why we're still going out there. This is why we're still showing you. I'm about to show you guys all the pictures we took in a video to show you how bad the destruction is. As of today, it's still bad.
Yeah, it's
still bad.
Yeah. So the fund and WNC Strong, the point is, you know, we can create products that we sell that will help fund the rebuild. Or whenever we do the developments, it'll be temporary housing, and then we'll be able to move the people over into the permanent housing in that development. We'll come back and put an RV park or tiny home community where the temp housing was, so tourists can come back into Western North Carolina. And then any revenue generated from the RV park tiny home community gets reinvested back in Western North Carolina. So it's a way that we are creating jobs and revenue streams to fund this, so we can do this until it's over. And then once we have it this funded and rebuilt, the funds will go into an endowment that will forever offer affordable housing and affordable health care in Western North Carolina. So we're not going to stop this. My kids' kids will eventually benefit from this with affordable housing and affordable health care. It's going to be an ongoing. And the fact that universities are getting involved, that really gives us a platform that we can scream from. And App State's a big university. They have a national presence. With them coming on board, and hopefully we solidify that this week. We've had several conversations.
Yeah.
That gives us the ability to really get the message out.
Well, and so Ben and I both have young kids. If you didn't know, what we've been talking about a lot recently is, how do we leave a legacy? How do we leave something that truly lasts, that helps benefit our children's children? We are leading by joining us on any of this. You are joining our legacy movement. Even commenting on this video and helping us go higher in the algorithm or sharing this live, you are joining us in something that's so much bigger than just one little relief effort. This is a legacy movement that our children's children are going to be a part of.
That's it.
So thank you all for joining and supporting this. We're not getting paid by anything that we're doing. We are truly giving as much of our resources as we can responsibly to help the people of Western North Carolina. So without further ado, you want to go into pictures?
Let's go into pictures.
You guys want to see some pictures from what we did yesterday? I wonder if we should show that video. We're about to upload a video to YouTube.
Let's show it.
If you see this video on YouTube, will you please comment, share it? It's really going to help us. And we're kind of new to this, so I'm going to try to do the present mode. If any of you have my number, if you're seeing in the comments, when I do the present mode, will you please give me a thumbs up or let me know that you're seeing or hearing this video or the pictures? I'm going to go share screen. Let's just go entire screen. Sorry if it's not aesthetic at first. But please give me a thumbs up if you're seeing this video. Bear with me here, guys. Okay, ready? Let's see if this will... Hopefully you can hear this. And this was all filmed yesterday, so it's fresh. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see this and hear it. I'm going to check on. Yeah, if this isn't the best quality, you guys, don't worry. We're going to put this on YouTube, but I just more so wanted to show you some of the video footage. And this was an awesome friend of ours we made. That's Ben. Hazmats.
They lost everything. Their houses, their jobs, their businesses.
Great song.
It's very appropriate for the day.
You have time, and you have time to help, and it's hard to do anything else.
That is the town of Marshall, North Carolina. Just horrible, horrible.
Give people hope. And without hope, all is lost. That's what we aim to do with Wnc Strong, is bring back hope.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this will play out, but the local economy, like you can tell stores are really struggling. There's multiple business owners we talked to yesterday that said, yeah, we have to close down, or we can't hire people anymore. We can't have our staff come in because we just can't afford it. We're not getting the business that we're used to. So, I mean, multiple business owners said that they had to put all their staff on unemployment, like lay them off, and really sucks. People's dreams are getting crushed every day by, this is in a lot of places, this is like their life's work. So if you get the chance, go support these businesses, go, see what the Smokies look like and help people out. We'll go straight into the photos. Give me a thumbs up, by the way, if you can see this still.
If you but if you can't go, then through WNC Mercantile, whenever we get products loaded, whenever we get gift cards loaded, go in there and buy something. You're going to buy most of this stuff anyway. And if you have a retail shop in Florida, if you have one Georgia, California, if you have one in Italy, wherever, and you want to put WNC Strong Mercantile products in your store to help out, let us know. We want to get out to as many stores. And the beauty of it, whenever we get it in retail stores across the country, we're going to send a story with it on a storyboard. And, the customers will be able to come in and see the story, see what happened, and hopefully donate and buy. The more people that see this, of course, the better. The more people that are going to be likely to buy and help out or donate and help out. It's
yeah, seriously. And I'll kind of narrate what we saw yesterday. This was outside of Swannanoa and Black Mountain. There's people living in tents like this next to the river. What you're seeing here, this is an aerial shot of people living in like tough sheds on this side of the road and across the street. People set up some temporary housing. When we say temporary housing, this isn't what we mean, by the way. What we're doing is a little bit more permanent. They're like tiny homes, so they'll be about 400 or 500 square foot. These are sheds, storage sheds, and people are living in these because, they have nothing else. As you'll see, we continue on, you'll see why they have nothing else. I mean, it's a lot of the houses that were these were up to the roof line and water. So everything on the inside, these are uninhabitable.
That was probably the hardest part to see driving through this, because you can see that they had torn everything out of those houses, but there's pink slips on most of the doors, which, I don't even know if they get. And here's the bad part about Swannanoa. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but what really happened there was more than just the flood. It had to do with the reservoir that broke down as well. So if they don't let the people rebuild there, I could see some lawsuits coming out of that, because it wasn't just flood waters that made it that bad. And I would think the government's somewhat responsible for the damage from that reservoir turning loose.
Yeah. Let's not get political, Ben.
Well, I don't think that's political. If a reservoir breaks, or it didn't even break.
Yeah, they let water out.
Too late. The design let water out. They didn't let water out.
They should have let it out.
The engineer that designed that years ago let the water out.
So you can see this was like a recreational area. This is in a place called Burnsville, just covered in mud. This was brand new, a brand new facility with baseball diamonds and soccer fields, football fields, and everything. Just destroyed.
We've been talking about this one. You didn't even know that. We've talked about seeing if we could help get that back up and going for the youth in that area. This will probably be one of, if you know my dad, he loves sports, and he loves coaching kids, and this is one of his areas that I think he would be good at helping with. So that'll probably be something that we do.
So so you're seeing this was all underwater. The river had rushed and raised high enough to where all this was underwater. Now it's receded. It's a very, very small little creek river that you'll see in a second. But there's obviously little pockets like this that have been left. But look at that. I mean,
I wonder who won the last game on that field. Home or guest?
We'll say it was a home team. But look at that. I mean, just massive logs and trees. And
I guess it was Helene won.
Yeah. where are you going?
To my house.
Can you get my boots? All right. So Ben's signing off. He'll be back, but I think we'll end this broadcast here before. But I'm going to take you through these photos. This is what I meant. The river has receded down to its normal length. And this is the baseball diamonds you can kind of see. It's in a little town called Burnsville. This is one of the areas that we were looking at to do maybe some temporary housing. Good looking property there. When we're looking at properties, we look at what weathered this storm, because we don't want to build something and then another storm come through, another 1,000-year storm, and then we're dealing with floods. But this is that temporary. People are living in pop-up trailers and RVs. If you have an RV like this on your property and you want to donate it, we will get it to, we've put a few of them out where people will actually go in there. But what we're trying to do is something that's a little bit more permanent. Tiny homes, nicer, more permanent structures. They can withstand the elements. It's getting cold out there. Just heartbreaking destruction. Carpet City. All this was underwater. It's not normal. None of this is normal. This is just, it brings like a pit to my stomach because we went and we saw this. It smells, all of it. It's just horrible. It's just an overwhelming amount of. This was one of those properties we said just remained untouched, and then right across the street you just see horrible disaster. Hazmat suits, people working, trying to clean this place up. In the town of Marshall, which is what this is, they had a sewage plant that filled up and flooded. So the town is basically full of sewage. More temporary housing. People are just living in their cars and RVs, making little communities like this. But you can't knock it, you know, people are making do with what they got. But yeah, we feel the responsibility to go and help people who are affected and dealing with this. We feel the moral obligation to go help build tiny homes and, you know, stop at nothing, whatever it takes to truly help people heal. I mean, this is a movement that is by the people, and it's for the people. So anyways, you might see these come out on Facebook and Instagram over the next couple of days. One of the smallest things that you can do that really does help more than you know is to help us share and like and comment on these posts, because it helps us go a little higher in the algorithm. And there are a lot of people, I have friends and family out west who they have no idea that this happened and that it is still this way. Like, no, not in America. It wouldn't look like that. That's that railroad I was talking about. They repaired it, but you can see it's still, I don't think that's up to standards, so it doesn't look safe. So I think that's it. I don't know if there's any more. There's been. Anyways, let's stop that and I'll go back to here. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know Ben does too. He just had to boogie. So yeah, I mean, keep sharing this. Yeah, these were yesterday. To those who, I don't know if there's any questions on here. If you guys have any questions, I can answer them. But yeah, those were all yesterday. It's just nauseating is a good word. Nauseating is a really good word. I mean, right now I feel sick to my stomach for just looking through those, because like I was saying, the smells and seeing the devastation on people's faces. You ask like, hey, how is it going? How are you doing? And you can hear the way they respond, and you're like, no, really, how are you? And it's just heartbreaking. You feel the energy. I mean, it gives me goosebumps to talk about. So yeah, nauseating. I think the number one thing you can do to help, obviously, when you put entries into like getting a moke, you know, everything, we're not going to break even on these mokes. They cost like $30,000-$40,000. So I don't think, no matter how many entries we get, I don't think we're going to break even. But if we get above a price on that, what we would do is basically take that money. There are so many different things that we're doing, but one of the exciting things is like we're actually deploying people to go cut people out, like with chainsaws. We're cutting roads so they can have access to their house, because a lot of people who are like living in that RV, they're just well, we can't get to our house, and then from their house they can't get to the grocery store. We met someone that basically she has no road access to her house, and so she can't go to the grocery store. There's a guy that's bringing her groceries and bringing her everything she needs, and she's just, yeah, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna die here. I'm like, well, with that attitude, you might die sooner than you need to. So we've been trying to help people out, like logistically help them get constant supplies, help them get food and clean water. And we were talking to someone yesterday who said that a guy that's helping him out with some work, he's like, yeah, hey man, I might get power back this week. And Russ looks at him, he's like, you don't have power? I said, no, still don't have power at my house. So there's little stories like that in Appalachia, people who they don't want to refuse help, but they think, I got this, you know, I'm tough enough, I don't need help. But we need to get them generators. We need to get them food. We need to get them water. We need to get them everything they need to survive and to live a life that's, you know, we're coming in on the holidays, which is already a hard time for a lot of people. And if you got your whole entire life taken away from you, just swept away from you like that, the morale is tough. So every penny that you can donate, it helps us help other people. Again, liking, sharing, commenting, all this stuff on social media, helping us get the word out there. If you think that you've got a particular skill that could help us in our efforts now, knowing what we're doing, please reach out to us. Even just reaching out to people that you know in Western North Carolina, checking in on them, like, how are you doing? How are you actually doing? Having conversations like that. I mean, fuel is a huge one. Food. Yeah. Y'all know what to do. Let's band together. Let us help people. This is a great opportunity for us to shine our light. We got over that election thing. Like that's in the past, is behind us. Let's focus on helping people, because we have an opportunity to do it. We are by the people. We're for the people. We are Wnc Strong. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for helping us. And yeah, let's help the people out. Y'all have a great day.